Welcome to the Automatic Patient Podcast, where we help your dental practice create a kick-ass recurring revenue model. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan and Justin Comstock. This podcast is powered by BoomCloud. Create, manage, and grow your dental membership program. Schedule a demo on boomcloud.com.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Automatic Patient Podcast. I'm your host today, Jordan Comstock. With me, my trusty Director of Marketing, Bentley Folkman. What is up, dog? How are you doing?
It is a beautiful day. We're excited to be here. I love talking about dentistry stuff with actual clinicians, and so this is going to be a fun episode. I'm trying to get the vernacular right. I keep calling you guys practitioners or providers, and I'm learning through a couple of rebukes that's not the way you guys like to be addressed. So
you're not wrong, though.
We've been called worse.
Nice. Today we have all the fellas from Wood River Dental. We have Ryan, Jared, and Dan. What is up, guys? I'm so pumped to have you on the podcast today.
It's exciting to be here. You ready to take this train right off the rails? Let's just it'll probably take us 5 minutes.
Sweet. Let's go. So let's talk. Let's do a quick overview. You guys, we've been working with you guys for several years now here at BoomCloud. And you guys, we spent some time in Texas together at Dr. Mark Costy's conference, went to Topgolf, hung out a little bit. It was fun getting to know you guys a little bit better. But we have, once again, Ryan, Jared, and Dan. Why don't you go through, we'll start with Ryan, quickly introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you do in the practice and how you got started in dentistry. Ryan, we'll start with you, man.
Oh, awesome. I'm the newest one to the group. So I came on late 2019, right before COVID, to work with Dan and Jared here at the office at the practice. My background is retail. So I was a retail executive for 28 years.
Quite the change.
Yeah, big change. So Dan and Jared reached out to me about coming to work with them here at the practice to kind of take a look at the business side of things. And I knew what great guys they were and jumped at the opportunity to come work with them here at the practice. And so I came on late 2019 and started to take a look at the metrics and the business side of things. So that's when I joined the practice and came on board. So
awesome. Retail to dentistry. Now you're going to be stuck in the dental world. That's what happens to everybody.
I love it. It's great. Great patients, great products, great services. It's interesting how much things cross over. You know, it's business. Yeah. Just different products, different services, different customers.
Yes, business is universal, so it all fits into dentistry. I've always been into the dental industry. I don't think I'm ever going to get out. Years ago, I was working at the dental lab, and that's a rough business sometimes, especially when the CEREC units came out. That was quite the change in that industry, but or that side of the industry. But I tell everybody, once you're in Bentley, sorry, bro, you're in the dental for the rest of your career. Pretty sure that's going to happen.
If I get to hang out with good guys like you on a regular basis, I think I'm in good company. I've definitely been in more stuffy industries. We'll just say that.
You're right. Yeah. Jared, tell us about how you got started, what you do in the practice.
Yeah. So I graduated dental school 2006. I came as an associate in a couple different places and ended up here in Hailey, Idaho at Wood River Dental Care. And then a year later, I bought the practice. So 2008, I became the owner of Wood River Dental Care. And interestingly enough, in 2009 or 10, I actually started my own patient benefit plan before it was a thing.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Conceptually, it made sense. The problem is I didn't have the bandwidth or knowledge necessarily to keep track of it appropriately. And so we had a lot of manual labor going into the data tracking of the data and inputting and so forth. So it didn't, I didn't have enough information to evaluate whether it was a good thing for me. So we made a decision based upon a feeling, which is what a lot of dentists do, which is which is again one against one of our commandments at Elevation. You don't make emotionally based decisions, because that'll lead you in the wrong place. But I ended up nixing it because I didn't know. We had a conversation about it and whatever. So and then so when we found you guys in BoomCloud, we were like, this is an awesome platform. This is a great way for us to keep track of it, and this outside source can help us just take a lot of the headache out of managing this for us. And it's been a huge boon for our practice. It's been awesome for us.
That's awesome. Love it, Jared. Dan, tell the audience who you are and what you do, bro.
Yeah. So my career arc's probably, it's not completely unique, but a little more unique. I went the military route. I was in the Air Force. So I graduated in 12 and came out, went right into residency, which, it was the best of years. It was the worst of years. But it was good. And then I was stationed in Japan. I went out and lived in Japan and served on Misawa Air Base out in Japan for a few years. And then through just some serendipity, I met Jared while I was over there, and we started talking shop and talking plans. And in 2016, one thing led to another, and I separated. I got out of the military and decided to take a different route, and came and associated for Jared for a little less than a year. We actually we only professionally dated for 7 months before we decided to get professionally married. And so we knew right away that our skill sets and our ethoses and just our morals aligned in the way that we like to practice. It was really good. And in 2017, I bought half the practice, and Jared and I became partners. And then we've just put the steamroller on forward since, and are just plowing forward, doing the just burning the candle at both ends. It seems like we're insane. If someone to look at our schedule, they think we're crazy running a full-time practice and 2 other businesses on the side. I often think we're crazy, but it's been awesome. Yeah, we've had a really great time. We practice up in the Sun Valley area of Idaho and Haley, Idaho. And fortunately for me, Jared laid all the groundwork, so I just had to plug and play. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, I actually did a podcast, was it yesterday, with on my other podcast with Ben Tuine. We had an episode about partnerships in dentistry and how complicated that is. So it's pretty cool to see you guys run 3 different businesses together and have it successful, right? That is a challenge. When I started BoomCloud, I had co-founders that it could be a challenge if you don't get the right people.
Well, the key is insanity. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. You don't think about
it. So if I know a lot of practices that are trying to bring on associates, and relationships are probably their biggest fear. When Jared, and maybe this is a great question for you, when you were looking at Dan or bringing on someone into your little baby here at Wood River Dental, what were you looking for? Did you just get lucky, or what advice would you give to a practice owner or looking for a partner like Dan?
Yeah, that's a great question, because Dan and I have a pretty unique relationship. We're very different people. We're opposites, if you will. And so it works really well, because at first, when I was looking for an associate, I was looking for somebody like me. And after working with people like me, I realized I didn't like people like me. I prefer that are not like me. And
same here. Yeah,
it's just it's a good yin and yang. You really do need both sides into a practice, and you need to look for somebody who can complement what you already have. So like Dan said, yeah, I laid a groundwork, and that was good, but Dan brought a whole different skill set of surgery and other components that I wasn't doing, and we were able to offer more services to our patients. We had the capacity in the space. He had the same drive and desire to work, and we had the same mentality as far as what our vision of what we wanted the practice to be. And and it was, I don't remember, Dan. Did we take a personality test? I think we
Yeah.
took a personality test,
Yeah.
right?
And we're like opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, and we
Almost
were like
yeah.
opposites.
across the board. Yeah.
But what
Yeah,
was
that-
interesting is we're like each other's spouse, really. I mean, I'm like Dan's wife, and he's like my wife in a
Dude.
The
sense.
personality. Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah. Jared and my wife are just like each other, and then his wife and me are very similar. We're just like each other. So, I mean, if that's an
Love it.
indicator of how to make it work well, I guess, why not? Unless the marriage sucks, and then maybe not do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. I look at that my brother, who you guys probably don't know, or maybe seen him like on social media.
How
He's our
would we
chief.
know? I mean, since you're twins,
We're
would you
twins.
know?
Yeah, it'll be rough for you guys to figure it out. But well, yeah, you would know he wouldn't talk to you. We kind of the same situation. He's our chief operating officer. I'm the CEO of Boom Cloud. I started it, laid the groundwork. And we couldn't be more opposite. And same thing. He's very similar to my wife, and I'm very, very similar to his wife. It's kind of weird. So that's funny that there's some trends there, and we've had a great working relationship, not only here at Boom Cloud, but we manage the dental lab together, and we work really, really well together. So that is interesting that you say that, because it's the same here at Boom Cloud with our leadership team. So kind of interesting. All right, I want to get into some metrics first. So you guys have a successful membership program. I think when Bentley started at Boom Cloud, I'm like, hey, this is a list of people that you need to get to know and understand like what they're doing in their practice, because I'm fascinated on everyone's success on the Boom Cloud platform, and you guys were on that list. So I'm so happy we get to spend time today on the podcast. So let's talk a little bit of metrics for your membership program. How many active patients you guys have on your plan?
So active members right now, we have about 750.
Okay. And I think the average practice that's like getting started, like they're way below that. So you guys are way above the average to hopefully make you guys feel good saying that.
Yeah, feels good.
750 active membership patients on your membership program. You've been offering this how long? A few years?
About 3.5 years, I think, right, Jared?
I
Somewhere
think so,
around-
yeah. Right around there.
3.5 years. That's awesome. What's the average monthly subscription? Even if you charge yearly, what's the average MRR?
Yeah, the yearly we charge about $528 per year.
Okay.
So, and then monthly it breaks down to about $48 per month. We give a month free if they sign up a year at a time, right? So
Sweet. Yeah.
it's a $50 discount if they do a year, as opposed to like the monthly payments in between. So
Yeah. So
Yeah,
40. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, on top of that, we tier it. So the more people that sign up, so we've tried to appeal to families and businesses. And so the more people that sign up, we discount a little bit on a tier system, so that if someone's bringing 10 people under one umbrella, that it helps them out on that way too, because it helps us. So it's kind of you could almost call it a friends and family discount, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I've seen that a lot. That's definitely a tiered type of pricing model, which works really well, even for like businesses, small businesses and their employees. We've seen that work really well. So that's really interesting. So rough numbers, the MRR, or let's call it ARR, which is average recurring revenue, roughly 430K-ish a year in predictable recurring revenue, which is pretty incredible. A lot of practices can use that to invest into a lot of different things in the practice. New technology.
Well, what I find fascinating about that too is I'm an Idaho boy as well. I spent some time in Haley having fun, and otherwise the population up there is not huge. So to have one of the biggest membership, patient lists in our book of business here at Boom Cloud with your population numbers, I can't remember what Haley's population is, but it can't be more than 25,000 people living up there.
Oh no, it's not even close to that.
Yeah. If I had to guess, I would say probably 10 to 15. And you guys basically have, 10% of the population base signed up for a membership.
pretty much, which it's a fantastic service, instead of them paying an insurance company to discount your services, that, you know, they pay us to discount our services and give them a deal. It's a win-win, you know, great situation. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
here's the thing, and I kind of went on a rant the other day at our morning huddle, just out of pure frustration with insurance. So, and my team has been bugging me to do a video with me ranting and furiously about how insurance is a freaking sham and all that.
Gosh,
So
now
maybe
you're sounding like me, Dan.
Yeah, maybe this is that opportunity. So here I go. But
Go, yeah.
I think the reality is, and anybody that's dealt with it knows that insurance is not, dental insurance is not insurance. It's a misnomer. It's a freaking coupon. And it's a crappy coupon at that. You know what I mean? It's not even a good coupon. It's not Prime. It's not even Amazon Prime. It's worse than all the, you know what I mean? It's a dumb coupon that you go and you get up to, you can spend up to $1,000 or spend up to $1,500 and get 50% off of the money that you're spending that now has already been paid for by your company or by yourself. And you get this coupon. Once you use the coupon, it's gone. Sorry. And then you just have to pay out of pocket. And then on the other end of it, the doc's like, well, I guess we'll discount on top of your coupon so that we can take your coupon. So it's the biggest racket ever. And, you know, and we all just seem to accept it and take it, you know, for what it is, because we have a, you know, we're scared about patient numbers or whatever it is, where this, having a patient benefit plan or whatever you want to call it, this puts the control back into the hands of the office, the practice, and the patients, because there's no limitations on things. You know, when we talk about it with our patients, we're like, do you have Amazon Prime? Do you like it? You know, and why does it work well for you? And then we say, well, this is really similar to that. It's a membership program that you have no, you know, there's no ceiling, there's no limit to the benefits. It's not some dumb coupon, you know, that has loads of limitations. And then for us, like you said, we get that recurring income, that passive income, regardless of whether they come and use it or not. And so, you know, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for us. And, you know, for Jared and I, when we've had these discussions with insurance, we're like, how can we get more control over what is happening in our practice, which is what we're always fighting for, is to have, ultimately, is to maintain control. But in turn, how can we empower our patients and pay something forward to them so that they have more empowerment themselves and they're able to make better decisions? Because how often do you know, anyone listening to this that's practicing right now knows that they'll come in and they'll have like a cracked tooth, and you're like, yeah, you probably are going to need a root canal and maybe a crown. And they're like, and the next question is, well, how much will my insurance cover? It's like, you have a cracked tooth and need a crown and a root, and you're wondering what your insurance will cover. I get the like financial end of it, because that's how difficult it is. When they have a patient benefit plan, they want to just know, okay, what do we do next? And of course they want to know numbers. Everyone want to know what it costs, but so too often the care is then dictated by whether or not they have insurance. It's like, oh no, I'm going to pass on this thing. You know, it's like, okay, well, all right. And the other thing that we've seen happening, and this is really maddening, guys, is, and we've seen this a lot uptick right now, and I think it's worth talking about, is insurance companies are denying claims for tons of reasons. I've got 3 claims sitting on my desk right now that I have to write narratives for, that we've sent photographs, x-rays, and narratives already, and they're saying no. And they would
so you have evidence.
Well, so here's the thing, is that what they're saying is that there's not, so these are both scaling root plane patients, and they're coming back and saying, well, there's not enough bone loss. So in essence, let's back that up. What they would rather do is they would much rather, or let's say you have a cracked tooth, right? So there's a cracked tooth, we send a photo in, obvious cracks. There's 3, 4, 5 cracks on the tooth, a giant amalgam with bad margins. It's got creep all over it. You can see how bad it's oxidized, and they'll come back and say no. And what they want to do is they would much rather have that patient suffer through having it go to abscess or developing periodontal disease or whatever it is, because then they don't have to cover as much and they can deny the claim that comes through. So the bottom line is insurance companies do not care about the patient.
No.
They would rather you as a patient have something progress to a pathology than pay out any preventative money to keep that from getting to that point. So let's take the cracked tooth. They'll say, no, I'm not going to. So if we try to pre-authorize it, they'll say, nope. And then what'll happen is it'll come back. And let's say the tooth cracks and breaks and needs a root canal. Well, they don't have to pay out as much as that because that's just a discount. They go and they don't, there's the coupon again. And then that specialist doesn't have to discount anything because they're not in network, right? So if you refer it out or if you do it yourself, then all their insurance's money is used up. And they don't care. Now they don't have to cover anymore because the coupon is gone, the benefit's gone, and the patient is left holding the bag. It is really messed up.
It's backwards.
Conversely, yeah, but then if you have a patient benefit plan where you're offering a benefit where they're getting a discount off of things that they've paid for and have bought in on, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I often say that insurance companies from a practice owner perspective and a patient perspective, like practice first, insurance companies are the worst partners in the world. Because if I had a partner that reduced my profit margins, killed my cash flow, and jeopardized my patient experience, I'd probably fire their ass. Right? A partner or employee, no matter what, you're going to get rid of them because it's just bad business practices. And it seems like the insurance industry has kind of got the dental industry thinking in a weird way when it comes to practicing business and well, great patient experience.
And we're conditioned just to accept it and be like, oh, well, it is what it is.
Well, this is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So I love that mindset. It is true. I remember working in the dental lab and getting a lab slip years ago. And what it said was this on the form: please make the cheapest, I don't even remember what, cheapest fabrication of a crown possible due to the patient's insurance. And I sat there and thought for a minute. I'm like, if I were this patient, I would be ticked because I want to make sure that whatever is putting into my body is going to be quality and is going to work for me, right? Not the cheapest thing, possible. I thought it was an odd thing. And that's what insurance has done to not only patients, but to a lot of practice owners out there. It's like, well, I'll just do what the patient, or whatever insurance will help cover. I
if totally they had their way, we'd have tinfoil crowns, right?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. So no, that offering a patient membership program or a patient benefit plan or a savings plan, it's all the same thing. It definitely allows your practice to think more about the patient experience and implementing quality dentistry within your practice. That's why I'm a big believer in it, being in dentistry as long as I have. So let's ask this, shifting gears a little bit, how have you guys grown this type of program in your practice? That's probably the number one issue I see looking at across our platform and just across the industry. A lot of practice owners don't know how to market and promote new services. So what are you guys doing that's working?
Well, to go back, this ties in with what Bentley was talking about earlier. Is our area? We have a small area. Really, the whole River Valley is probably 16,000 people. And so for us to have 750-ish people on our plan is a lot. But this area doesn't have a lot of large companies that supply dental insurance. So sure. A lot of these people here. So what we've done is we've targeted these small businesses and we've created these strategies and approach the small business and say, hey, if you're looking to provide a benefit for your family and your employees, here's a great option for you. We want you to get the work done that you need done, and we want to help make it affordable. And instead of going out and buying a crappy insurance plan, here's a benefit plan where you can get everything done here. So that was our first idea of how to go about it. And then what we've done also is we've just made sure that we have, like Dan said, we've got Monday morning meetings every Monday. We meet for an hour to an hour and a half, and we review all of our metrics. And one of the metrics that we review is patient benefit plan member signups. And by doing that, if we have a lower week, we discuss why. we create an issue and figure out why it was lower. And then if it's and then we resolve it, whether it's verbiage from a new employee, team member, or
Sure.
out of pamphlets, or not sure, whatever it is. It's at the forefront of the mind. If we haven't hit our goal, then we bring it up again. And so it's a constant. As an owner, we believe in it. So because we believe in it, our team believes in it, and they then take that and run with it, and they understand how much of a benefit it is for all the patients. They're looking for ways to promote it as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, we see trends across the industry, especially what you just spoke about, like believing that it is a benefit to patients and to the practice, which it is. Taking ownership of issues. I love that. You guys, I spending some time with you guys, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember. I realize that you guys are great operators of your practice, and you communicate well with your team. It sounds like, especially doing a weekly huddle, a weekly meeting to discuss issues. We operate very similarly here at Boom Cloud, and I think that really helps improve things, fix things, because as you guys know, running a business or a practice, it is something that is alive and needs to be nurtured in all areas. And when you fix one thing on this side, the other thing on the other side has an issue, and you got to fix it. So I love that you guys are looking at that weekly. I think that's really important. And I know something that a lot of our successful practices do in regards to growing their membership program is rewarding or bonusing their employees on certain like growth goals for not only the membership program, but sometimes the practice in whole, and that may include growth of the membership program. Do you guys do anything like that in your practice to your team members?
You're probably not going to like what we're about to say.
You're good.
We're actually not. We're not big on bonuses.
Sure.
There's a lot of pitfalls that come with bonus systems, and
Sure.
if you don't do it perfectly for your practice, it can open up a lot of bags of worms. But what we do in a reward system, that we obviously have practice goals, and we set goals, and the patient benefit plan for us is one of those things that we monitor. And I wanted to touch base too, Jordan, on, you asked about the marketing component.
Yeah.
For us, we believe, and we teach through Elevation Association, we practice what we preach at Wood River Dental, and that's that you should have 3 uniques, something to create a niche for yourself within your market. Well, you have to have 3 uniques, and one of our uniques is the patient benefit plan. That's one of the things that sets us apart. And we would hope that other practices would see that opportunity, of having, that combination of those 3 things. And if one of them is a patient benefit plan that you can offer, you can then take that and create marketing campaigns centered around. We're about to roll one out. We're going to do a social media campaign in the next week or two that is for specifically patient benefit plan material. And so that it does 2 things. One, it promotes your services, but you can create a really fun campaign to draw in interactions with your social media, which then you can reuse later on to retarget people that are specific to your areas. You're not just doing some shotgun scatter method, so it's really a great opportunity to present something that maybe people it's novel to them, and they'll interact with more.
Sure. That's awesome.
Just want to add a little bit to what both Jared and Dan said on this, like just touching the reward program that Dan talked on. Like, one of the things we do weekly is if the team goals are hit, which include patient benefit plan, we do a reward system that's been kind of fun. The docs came up with this a few years back, and so we have 100 lottery balls in a little wheel, and then associated with each ball is some prize or a gift, Cool. And we tried to incorporate that with our patients as well. So, like, if one of our patients owned a pizzeria down the road, then one of the gifts is pizza. Like, sweet. We try to, again, give back to those who give to us, And so the girls
love
hit a
it.
goal, the team hits a goal, they roll the wheel, pick a ball, and then, the team gets to celebrate and involves the patients as well, which has been a fantastic way of doing that. And
Great.
then along the lines of the marketing and stuff as well, with our team, every day on the schedule, we highlight who's a cash paying patient or who is a potential patient benefit member, so that we know, like, this is somebody to talk to today about the patient benefit plan when they're coming into the practice. And then there's pamphlets, there's posters all throughout our office, about the patient benefit plan and the benefits that are available there. So, and it's really a good way of doing it. And the treatment coordinator is great as well. Like, she'll be like, here's what you owe today, but if you were to look at our patient benefit plan, here's what it would be discounted. And like, so the patient can look at that and be like, wow, like, I can save some money and get my treatment here, so it's a fantastic teamwork about, approach of how do we get more members, everybody's on board, everybody's working towards, getting new patient benefit members, because they're a great, they're our ideal patient. Like, when we look at, like, who's the patient that we want to have here at Wood River Dental, it's a patient benefit plan patient. Like, that's our ideal patient. It's not a Delta Dental patient, it's a patient benefit plan member. Like, that's who we're marketing to, that's who we want to have as our ideal practice patient. Right?
Yeah, I think that's, go ahead, Bentley.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, hats off on the teamwork aspect of gamifying the fun, but making it a team-based incentive. I'm a big fan of that as well. I mean, I work at a software company where commissions and incentives and individual contribution is obviously a huge part of the business in general. But I've always, as a manager and as a leader, loved any way I can bring the team together towards a common goal and incentivize on a team level. I love that you bring in the community back into it as well. Not only are there amazing restaurants up there, not to give, I feel like I'm turning into a travel brochure for Haley and Sun Valley, but there's some good places to eat up there. And I bet you guys can, and a lot of fun activities and things like that, that are all small businesses that you could probably pull into that make it really fun for your employees and their families, probably at some level too.
Yeah, I love it, especially the reward system. I'm on the same page as you, Bentley. Pretty cool, and that seems to be a trend with the most successful practices that I've seen, is that they're rewarding and involving their team members in some way or form, right? Whether it be gamification or whatever, right? I think there's a lot of cool things that practice owners can do out there, and I mean, my wife has worked for a couple practices, and her siblings are all hygienists, so I definitely gonna bring some of these ideas to them, because they seem to be bored at the office. I'm like, you gotta gamify it a little bit,
Yeah.
And even here in our office, our teams sometimes they'll create their own games, right? Point systems, and then we'll add some things into, like, hey, whoever gets the best points for the amount of calling to dental offices, you get a free lunch on us, right? Or whatever. I think that's really fun and simple to motivate people to help you do and attain your mission or vision. And
Can I add one? Sorry,
Go
can I
ahead.
add one more thing that
Yeah.
I also love that you guys plan ahead every morning. I love that you're
Yeah.
looking at your patient list when they're coming in, and you're walking through and saying, here's the people that you need to make sure you talk about membership plans with. I think just in general, whether you're trying to get your membership plan growth up or just trying to understand your patient workload for the day, having a plan and making sure everyone on the team is on board with what the day looks like, such a huge thing. And that's the first time I've heard that. So hats off also to you guys for that, for taking that extra time in the morning before the doors open and everything goes nuts to say, okay, here's our goals for the day. Here's the opportunities we have to grow our membership plans and to make sure we have all our ducks in a row. I think that's great.
Well, it's a stupid cliche, but it's a true cliche that 100% of the people you don't ask will say no.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
that's
The
true.
other cool thing with that too, Bentley, is that, you know, we believe in like all of our girls having, or all of our team members having a metric they're responsible for.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily Jared and Dan or I that are looking at the patients and being like, hey, we need to.
Somebody
sign
owns it.
people up.
Yeah.
But one of the assistants, her goal, her metric is the patient benefit plan. So
Mm.
she's kind of the champion behind, you know, signing people up for the patient benefit plan. So it doesn't necessarily fall back on the practice owner. It's one of, you know, this is my metric that I'm going to take ownership in. I've got a quarterly goal that we want to hit. And so I'm going to be the one champion, like, hey guys, we've got these people coming in today. Like, we need to get them signed up. Right. So
I love
Yeah.
that.
so
Love
that it's not just us doing it, but they're involved and they're wanting to hit those goals, right?
Yeah, you guys are obviously great operators. I love hearing these stories. It is so rare in dentistry to hear this. So hopefully this episode helps a lot of practice owners out there, because I really do believe, you know, you guys are doing awesome things there, and spending some time over in Texas with you guys was super cool. I love that you guys are focusing on your ideal, how do you say it in dentistry, Bentley? We say ideal customer profile. I guess you can say ideal patient profile in this case. I think that's really important to understand and to have a marketing strategy around. Bentley and I talk about this all the time within BoomCloud. I love that you guys are doing it with your practice and your patients. I think that is a key to succeeding in any business. So I think that's pretty awesome. So with that said, Bentley, I don't know if you have any other questions. I think my last question. I forgot this one. This was important to me. We speak to practices all the time in different variations and forms, right? From fee for service to doctors that are heavy implant focused, right? I told you guys some stories before we went and recorded. But what would you tell practice owners who are fearful about the discounting side of a membership plan?
Jared, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, I would say that a patient benefit plan or membership plan is an abundance mentality. I think if you are afraid of losing a few $100s or whatever it may be, because you think maybe you could squeeze a little bit more out of that patient, then that's more of a scarcity mentality.
Sure,
And
yeah.
one of our core values is abundance. And I think when it comes down to it, we want our patient to get the treatment done. So we're helping to remove any barriers. And are you going to discount some that somebody would have paid full price for? Yeah, probably. That's just the reality of it. But how much more treatment is accepted on those other patients who wouldn't have accepted the treatment if you didn't have that, if it was just straight up cash full price? And so
Sure.
and that's a hard metric to measure. I mean, it's impossible, because
Yeah.
you know, you can't measure those kind of emotional decisions, but there's definitely, we've seen a huge uptick on our schedule and people saying yes. And now look, now we're the good guys because we're the one choosing to discount our stuff. You know what? I'm still making, the margins in dentistry are huge. You're still making a lot of money, right?
They really are.
But now at the same time, you're also having the satisfaction of providing the treatment that you want to treat for the patient, and helping them remove barriers from that. So
yeah, I love that. The abundance mentality. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, on top of that, the data has shown that, I mean, we can run the report that shows that the dollar spent per patient. So if we look at the amount of treatment rendered per patient, across the board, those that have the patient benefit plan spend more than those who don't. Yeah. So we know that they're accepting more treatment. So they treatment acceptance, that component at least we can monitor. But like Jared said, then you wonder how many patients say yes to that second procedure or whatever it is that normally they would say no to. We don't know that. It's so hard to know, but
sure,
empirically, certainly it would appear, based on the peripheral data, that it's higher.
Yeah, we have data that says when a patient joins a membership plan, they typically spend 2 to 3 times more depending on the location and your internal systems and processes. But that's the data that we have that we look at as well. And I do agree with, like, you don't know if you're a fee for service practice owner listening to this, and you may be feeling feared discounting your fees because you're like, well, my patients are going to accept 100% of what I offer them. The truth is, there's two things to look at. Recurring revenue is the most powerful revenue stream for your practice and for businesses. It's actually the reason why the insurance companies have the largest buildings in your state, because they have a very large amount of recurring revenue generating every month in their business, right? I hate to say it, but they got a really good business model. You know what I mean? So by implementing that similar business model in your practice, but being made more patient focused, having a higher patient experience, which you can as a practice owner with a patient membership program, patients are going to say yes because they're grateful for what you're doing. It's no different than Amazon Prime. I signed up for Amazon Prime years ago, and I think I get a package on the porch every day. Before that, I was not purchasing on Amazon that much, right? It is a very similar mindset. I call that the membership mindset or membership psychology.
Yeah.
Same thing with Costco. It's very similar. Even Taco Bell now has a membership program, and they launched it the first month, generated $1 million in recurring revenue.
No
in
way.
the first month, selling
Taco Bell?
$9.99 taco membership. Yeah.
I love
Jared
it.
just got really excited, not because
Yeah.
of the numbers
So-
you talk about, but Taco Bell has a membership plan.
So after this, we're going to go hang out at Taco and explore their business model of membership programs. Let's go, Bentley. I'm teasing. I appreciate you guys coming on the show today. I think this episode will really help a lot of practice owners out there get their minds around reducing dependence on PPOs, increasing recurring revenue and patient experiences through membership programs, and hopefully think a little bit about their practice from an operational perspective, because I think what you guys are doing is amazing. So love that you came on the show today. Spending time with you guys in Texas was awesome. With that said, we hope to all our listeners, you all have a rockin' day.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.